How you doing, and welcome to my channel. As you can see today, I'm having a look at the new Hot Toys Darth Sidious from episode 3, MMS 745 Darth Sidious Sideshow exclusive. I think the only exclusive thing about this figure is the gold coin that he comes with. We'll have a look at that in the accessories section. Just a quick look at the box. You can see the usual Star Wars image of the figure at the box, and the banner at the bottom there, and picture of the figure at the side, and the usual warnings and details about Hot Toys on the back. And if I can just get this cover off, if it doesn't fight with me and give me too much hassle, there we go. We have another image, kind of recycled the image again. Nice little art piece. I like it, it looks well. So please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, guys. So what I'll do is my usual pan down of the figure before we get into the accessories. So here we have him here, and I know a lot of people did actually cancel this figure because of the newer updated version of him that's on pre-order at the moment. And that one has kind of two very different looks for you. You can have him as Senator Palpatine or Darth Sidious, so or Chancellor Palpatine, whichever way you want to put it. So I know a lot of people did cancel this figure, but I didn't cancel it because I want to get the other one and use that one for the Chancellor or Senator Palpatine look, and use this as my Emperor Palpatine look. And the other head sculpt isn't kind of the sinister smiling head sculpt on the newer updated version. I do like this head sculpt, so I decided to keep this one, and I'll use the other one as the Senator Palpatine look. So there we go. For a quick pan down of the figure, you can see that he has his lightsaber lit up there, and if I just kill one of my studio lights there, we'll have a bit more of a look at it. Not the best. Hot Toys really need to update their LEDs and the shape of the blade of the lightsabers, because they're not accurate. They shouldn't be going to a point. They should be the same width all the way around, but it is what it is. And he doesn't actually have a gauntlet to run the wire down, so I'll get into the details of how I kind of hide the wire for that lightsaber as we go through the figure. So for the accessories, let's move on. And here we have the accessories that come with the Hot Toys Darth Sidious, and as you can see, it's mostly comprised of hands. There's 9 hands there, and boy are they painted well. They are painted exceptionally well. These are probably to date my favorite Hot Toys hand sculpts that I've ever seen anyway. And I'll just grab a hold of one there, and you can see the details. Look at the vein work in that. It looks amazing. And the way it goes from the kind of pinkish red fingers down to this pale kind of grayish bluish kind of look with the veins underneath it. He has this really grubby fingernails, all painted with really well, with a nice little wash running through them. And the hands are speckled. They really look made to look like old man's hands. There's a lot of oops, I've dropped it there. There's a lot of speckling in them and aging to them. They're wrinkled. They're kind of, yeah, they're really, I can't get over how well those hands are painted. Hot Toys have really upped their game with the Hot Toys, with their hands, you know, with how they sculpt them and paint them. You can see the hands he has there, finger pointing hands, and kind of, you know, a slightly different finger pointing hand there, 2 open palms. And then this really obscure kind of, you know, gesturing hand that he has there. It's contorted and looks really well. I do want to use that hand at some point. And then we have his lightning finger hands, which have been recycled from a previous figure. I know a lot of people don't like this idea. You can see that they're really soft kind of plastic, so there's no break in them unless you really try. But the paintwork again looks really nice. They're painted so well. I can't get over what Hot Toys are doing with the hands these days. And you can see that the hands are kind of go translucent at the tips. They go very translucent at the tips. I'd probably see it better from this side here. There we go. Look at the tips of them there, have gone really translucent. And then we have again that kind of old man speckling kind of aging hand. A lot of wrinkles, a lot of details in them. And yeah, I can't get over the hands. I'm definitely going to be using one of those electricity hands as well. And then we have his lightsaber hilts. We have his wired one and his non-wired lightsaber hilt. A bit clean for my liking. I know it is kind of immaculate in the movie, so I shouldn't really be complaining, but I would have liked to have seen a bit of washing in the gold just to, show the separation in the details, but they're nothing absolutely fantastic. It's a bit of a bland lightsaber, but the detail is there and it is movie accurate. Then we have the limited edition gold coin that comes with the Sideshow exclusive. I believe it's a different color for the Asian market. I think it's red, isn't it? Says Darth Sidious on it and Galactic Empire and a little image of Darth Sidious, and then on the back we have Star Wars and Hot Toys Limited. Won't be using that, that'll be going back in the box as per usual with the coins. And then we have his lightsaber blades, one straight one and one swooshing one, all the usual Star Wars Hot Toys blades. So quickly moving on, we'll have a look at the figure itself. Actually, no, one more thing actually, the base. Or a stand, whichever way you want to call it. As you can see, it's in the new style of the Star Wars stands, the Hot Toys Star Wars stands. Identical to the last Star Wars figure that I got, which was a Han Solo. Exactly the same design, just slightly different variant. The paint obviously is different. The middle piece here is different to the Han Solo. I think that's what they change out on them. It's the only difference on any of the stands is the center piece there. This is just the centerpiece, which is made to look like maybe the floor of Chancellor Palpatine's chambers or something. I'm not sure what it's made to represent, but there is a bit of a relief to it. There is some bumps in it there on those bars that go across. And the paint, it is kind of a brown with a nice little wash to it. It's kind of a bronzy brown and a bit of a wash running through it. And to me, it looks the part. It looks absolutely fine. I know some people don't like the raised bases, but I can tell you it is a darn sight better than the old rectangular shaped ones they used to do. And you can see there, then we have the junction box at the top of the screen for the USB Type-C for the lighting up the lightsaber. So there we have it for all of the accessories. So moving on, let's have a look at the figure itself. So here we have Darth Sidious pretty much straight up as he comes out of his box, and in my usual fashion we'll start from bottom to top with his boots, and you can see that they are a typical Star Wars pleather boot. Nothing outrageous, no split boot, no plastic mold. It is a pleather boot. It does allow for a little bit of articulation, but not a whole heap because there is a bit of padding in there, but there's a bit there nonetheless. Again, the usual issue with the Hot Toys Star Wars figures, the risk of the pleather peeling. It's the only part of this figure that's made out of pleather, so it's the only part of the figure I'd be worried about. Very bland kind of boot. There's no weathering to them or anything like that, but they, again, I think Hot Toys could have done this one with a sculpted boot because most of it's going to be covered. It's only really going to be the toe that's sticking out anyway. Underneath that, we have, in this bottom layer, we have this brown kind of robe that he's wearing, and it's quite nice. There is a bit of design to it. It's a bit stretchy, you can see there. But there's a really nice kind of design, a weave kind of, as it looks. As you can see there, it's got this kind of weave got running through it. It's really nice. And then under that, we do have kind of, if I can get that up there, there we go. We have kind of a fat suit there with a little bit of padding in it there just to bulk them out a little bit. And what they've done there is they've, I really like this, they've cut out sections at the insides of the legs just to allow for as much articulation as possible. Now, I don't think anybody's going to be articulating Darth Sidious that much, but because they've cut them sections out there, we do have the option for as much articulation as we would like, which is absolutely fantastic of them to do that. That's great. I wish they'd done that with the Stormtroopers. And then the next layer we have is kind of his tan brown robe that he's wearing. And depending on the scene in the movie, it does look kind of more greyish in some scenes and brown in others, or tan in others. But it is wired all the way down the bottom of it, and it's lined really, really well. I love that line, and it's very nice. And yeah, as I said, it's really wired. It's all wired at the bottom, so you can allow for some dynamic kind of posing out of it if you want to mimic some of those fight scenes he's doing in the movie or whatever you may choose. There's definitely an ability to do some dynamic posing. And it's not the only thing that's wired. This top part here that's made of, kind of feels like a velvet or a felt. Feels more like a felt to me. But again, it's all wired. It's there's wires running all through it. So you can allow for, again, posing it however you like. Completely posable. And, you can situate that pretty much any way you want because of the wire that's running through it. Now, I do have to say, guys, that this part here, this felt part, is absolute dust catcher. It's a dust magnet. I think I've cleaned it off a half a dozen times since I've opened up the box. It's an absolute dust magnet. It's going to be a real problem for somebody who doesn't have a closed cabinet. If somebody's sitting it on the shelf, it's going to be a real dust magnet. The cuffs are the same. They have this felt material on them here, and the way it's all kind of bunched up here and stitched in is really, really nicely done. It's completely on point for the movie, for it to all bunch up at the ends and to be all rippled at the ends at the section here, just where it meets the cuff. And no matter what way you pose this guy, as you can see there is always going to be enough slack and coverage for the joints. There's so much slack in the material that no matter how much you bend the arm or raise the arm, that joint is always going to be covered, which is something that I really like. That you can hide those joints all the time. Unlike that T1000 figure that recently came out, I wasn't happy with the how it is when you raise the arms. But then you have this little kind of brooch or emblem thing in the middle there, and it is completely on point for accuracy. It's got that accurate design running through it. It's quite shiny as well. And then up in the collar part as well, it's kind of supposed to represent the rest of this felt piece running up behind the hood, and it's all felt. And then underneath that, you have the rest of the underrobe all coming up to just up on his neck there, which is completely on point. And then we have the hood. The hood, it takes a little bit of futzing to get it down, but it sits nicely once you get it in place. It's completely accurate. It's the right size, and it's stitched down at the back, so it's not going to go too mad on you. And anybody who's going to be posing this guy, I would assume everybody's going to be posing with the hood on, because he looks so much better. You see the wire running down it, so you can manipulate the hood however you want it, and it just sits on his head quite nicely. Doesn't have a wire running down the middle of it. In my opinion, it doesn't need it. Once you have this piece here just to pull it down, and just to get it down to the shape of his head, it doesn't really need the wire running down the middle of it. I think that if I had a wire running down the middle of it, it'd probably take away from the figure. But with the hood up, that looks absolutely amazing. He looks so sinister. He looks really nasty. It's a really good head sculpt, and yeah, I just love how sinister it looks. But just taking the hood down, and let's get this kind of punched in a little bit more, and we'll take a closer look at the details. Actually, one more thing I want to point out is his lightsaber hilt and his wired lightsaber, really. Now, most of these Star Wars figures have gauntlets that you can, hide the wire running down, but this guy doesn't have a gauntlet to hide the wire. So if I just pop this into his hand here, now the hands, they're made of a soft kind of plastic, so you can just pull the fingers apart a little bit and pop the blade into. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and you do have to be careful of that wire, but there we go. There's nowhere really to kind of hide that wire. There's no gauntlet for you to run it up and hide it. And yeah, so what I've been doing is, if I can just get this back out of his hand, actually I'll take his hand off, that'll be easier. Come on, come out there. There we go. Running it down his sleeve is what I've been doing. So if you just open up his robe there and grab the lightsaber and just push it down his sleeve of his robe. Now you can just feel it there and kind of feed it through. If you can just grab it there, roll the sleeve down, and you can see it's only the outside robe. I've put it down, as you can see there, and it just pulls out. And then just grab the hand and pop it back on. There we go. And let me just roll this sleeve up. There we go. And pop the hand back on. And pull this sleeve back down. You just got to adjust this sleeve to kind of hide the rest of the wire as best you can. Obviously, there's a tiny little bit of that wire exposed. But then you have just the rest of the wire that you can just manipulate and run it down the back of him. Like so. And then if I just grab his stand and pop him on the stand, and you can very easily just plug it into the junction box and close up the robe, and then there we go. That's really the only way to do it, you know, by hiding. That's caught up on his inner garment. There we go. So yeah, so that's kind of the best way to hide that wire. There's nothing hanging out the back of him or anything like that, because it's running up his sleeve, and it's still, he's still as articulatable as he needs to be, you know. So that's the best way really of hiding the lightsaber cable. So here we have the sculpt, and boy is it good. I really like this sculpt. It is so sinister looking. Doesn't look as well with the hood down as it does with the hood up, but look at that grin on his face. He's so happy to be causing pain to people. You can see the Sith eyes are completely on point. They look just as they did in the movie. You can see all the kind of wrinkles and the pronounced brow that he has that comes into effect after he turns into Sidious, and all the wrinkles and kind of the old man face that he has running down his face and into his neck is absolutely fantastic. The teeth are painted excellently. You can see how yellow and how, you know, gacky looking they are. There's a nice wash running through each tooth, you know, to separate the teeth, and there's yellow staining on them, and the lips are painted just the right colour. The little dimple in his chin is there, and all the details of the aging and the wrinkles all running down his neck as well. Looks absolutely fantastic. From every angle, this guy looks completely sinister and nasty and evil looking, and he looks really good. I think anybody who maybe cancelled this figure for the newer updated one might end up regretting it just for this head sculpt alone. It is absolutely fantastic. It's really sinister. The other one comes with a more kind of neutral, the newer updated one comes with a more neutral looking head sculpt. But one thing I will point out, where you do remove the back of the head to move the eyeballs, the seam line there isn't great. They didn't do a great job at kind of hiding that seam line, which is a bit unfortunate. It's a bit unfortunate that it has so much of this seam line. I wish Hot Toys would find a better way of doing it. You know, really, Hot Toys, come on. Let's put some magnets in those eyes. Let's get with the times and put some magnets in those eyeballs and get rid of these seams that they have at the back of their heads. And if I just grab the back of that off there, can I get it off? It's a little bit tough. There we go. And there we have the knobs there for the rolling eyeball function and how it comes off. This is unusual for me now. I don't think I've ever seen that, you know, that plastic bit sticking out there. That's obviously got a magnet in it. I don't think I've ever seen a figure with that little thing on it. It's usually just an exposed magnet. A little bit tough to get this on. What's going wrong here? Why isn't this going back on? It's not as easy as I expected it to be. Oh, it's pinched at the back of his robe there. There we go. That hasn't gone on correctly yet. It's still pinched at the back of his robe. There we go. So, yeah, bit of a hideous seam line, you know, but it is what it is, and I'm only going to be posing them with the hood up anyway, so it won't make any difference. So, there we have it for the head sculpt and pretty much everything on the new Darth Sidious figure. I really do hope that Hot Toys release a Revenge of the Sith Yoda. it's probably in the works. It's been a while since we got a Yoda figure. We don't have a Revenge of the Sith Yoda, and to partner this guy up with Yoda battling each other would look absolutely fantastic. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to leave you with some images of the figure, as you can see there, and please do hit that like and subscribe button if you do like this content and you want to see more. And thanks for watching, and take care.